Good evening or afternoon. I forgot it's like 5. I'm thinking it's night. This is the first episode of the Press Box High School Football Show. And we're going to be talking high school teams from Mifflin, Juniata, and Center counties. And we're starting off with Mifflin County, and we're pleased to have Mr. Brian Rodgers here. Brian, for those who don't know, is head coach and co-owner still, or are you the only owner now?
Oh, the only owner.
Of the Mifflin County Tomahawks semi-pro team. And back in 2013, when the Huskies won the District 6 championship, their only District 6 title, you were the defensive line coach, correct?
One of them, yes. Bobby Dunn and I was the defensive line guys.
I see, but you carried them, right?
Depends on who you talk to.
That's a joke, just in case Mr. Douglas is watching. But the reason we're going to talk about, the reason we have Brian on is to talk about the start that the Mifflin County Huskies have this year in 2022. And we'll bring that up here first. They are 3-1 with a chance to go 4-1, and they haven't done that since Brian was coaching on the 2013 team. They take on Palmyra 1-3 in the a mid-pen Keystone matchup, and they could go 4-1, which would match the best start of the 2013 team, which was the best start in school history. And Brian has checked them out. And what are your thoughts on the Huskies, Mr. Rodgers?
Well, I like what I've seen so far. I think the program has turned a corner, which is great. Compliments to the coaching staff and, all the people that have helped make that happen. I think they're starting to get the kids to buy into the program. And, not that the other coaching staffs failed or anything like that. I just think, we had a lot of athletes in Mifflin County that didn't play football. They played other sports and things. And I think, the kids have bought into the program, and it looks like things are turning around for them.
It also helps to have Landon Eichhorn at quarterback. He didn't play last year, and right now his stat line is 37 of 58, 479 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a pick. And Coach Breon likes to run the air raid offense. And my God, Eichhorn's thriving in it.
Well, that's to my.
Hello, Brian? We lost you for a second.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes my phone is not the best, but it's the difference one kid can make. What if that kid didn't come out and decided to play baseball or wrestle only or something? And so that's the kind of thing that Mifflin County needs to continue to happen, is these types of kids. I mean, I saw him play. The kid can throw the ball. I love the fact that they're going downfield with the ball. Instead of, those 3-yard outs, 5 yards outs, trying to make a kid feel comfortable in a system, they're attacking defenses. And, me, I watch the offensive and defensive line probably more than anything. And, the offensive line overall is doing pretty well. They're protecting him. I like their center. I like their right tackle. They're 77, I think he is. And, it seems like these kids are doing pretty good. And then, you mix it with, is that Schaefer, the running back, 21?
Yeah, Deacon Schaefer.
Yeah, and he just looks like Timmy Beck. I mean, he wears the same number and everything. And, I watched, one particular play against Shikellamy. They had a kick block, and the kid hit the hole, and it was just that, boy, if you can do that and make a team respect your running game and then can open up some stuff downfield, that's about as good as you want to get. If you're able to score some points and not have that constant pressure on the defense, good things can happen for you.
And you mentioned it briefly, but I'm going to get some more analysis from you on the line. Last year, they really took their lumps because they were young, and Mifflin County couldn't run the football at all. And like you said, this year everything's opening up, and besides Deacon Schaefer, Joshua Cruz is looking good, and the running game has really stepped up, and that's because of the improved play of the offensive line. Do you think it's just experience? They have another year under their belt that's made the difference.
Well, I mean, I haven't been to the practices, so I don't know what's happening there, but it looks like the blocking schemes are a little bit different from what I've seen in years past. And what I mean by that is, and maybe a lot of it's just experience, but I'm seeing these kids get to the second level. And that's something we preach at our level, is trying to get out there and get those linebackers. I see the kids make some mistakes, but some of these kids are 15, 16 years old, and those are things that can be fixed. And I saw I was watching number 57. I think he's the right tackle because they were going left to right when I was watching him. And he made great initial blocks, and he was slipping off to try to get to the backer. And there were a couple times where he was slipping too quick, and then the guy was able to make a play. And that's all things that can be fixed very easily, with coaching. But I guess all that to say, my point is, I'm starting to see these guys attack second level. And when you can do that, you got speed like the Schaefer kid, good things can happen. And instead of those 2-yard runs, some of them turn into 7, 9-yard runs. And you know as well as I do, when you're at 2nd and 3, 2nd and 1, instead of 2nd and 13, now you can do some things. You can open up and throw the ball down the field. I think they use their slot quite a bit, and I've seen him take some nice, 6, 7-yard routes, and they pop the ball out to him. So, I think the line looks good. I mean, some of those kids look like they can handle themselves, and if you can win up front, you're in good shape.
I wanted to give him the shout out since you mentioned his name. 57, I have the roster popped up, is Derek Swonger, a junior tackle.
Yeah, he's a little bit he's not as big as some of the other kids, but he's really quick, and that's what I like. And you've seen my line. We aren't always the biggest guy in the house, but we like the speed and we like the mobility up front, and he does a good job. He's moving around pretty good.
Now Palmyra is coming in 1-3, and what I've done, what I've seen of them, and what the research I've done, they're basically a one-trick pony, and that's Juan Figueroa, their running back. But it really hasn't been a good start for these guys, offensively or defensively. They've been outscored so far in 4 games, 112-37. Not good coming into Mifflin County, and I think the Huskies will go 4-1.
Well, I think they will. I mean, and that's what when you try to turn a corner, and Brian, you and I've talked many, many times. Win the ones you're supposed to win. And as you look down that schedule, and you're certainly not looking ahead, but Palmyra should be a win. I would imagine Hershey and Milton Hershey would be wins. Cedar Cliff's probably a better school. I don't know what Redland has, and of course McDevitt's.
But let's say it right here, and I don't want to offend Mifflin County people. We will not beat McDevitt.
Well,
we will not beat McDevitt.
Here's the thing: you're probably right, but this is a program you want to get better, and this is a program that we hope. And this is no offense to anybody, but you want to get the Shikalimis off the schedule and the McDevitts on. And yes, this program's not there yet. And, I have no decision making in any of that. But, we want to get to the point where we're able to run with Altoona. We're able to run with State College. We're able to run with schools our size. And, us going to, if we played Harrisburg and CD East and all those teams we used to play, these kids would get beat up. And so the strategy of, let's get some wins, let's build a program. I like it, and yes, it'd be nice to get the Shikalemis off and more beef on the schedule, but, baby steps, have a good year, take care of business, go into this week, take care of Palmyra, and just keep forging ahead. And with a game like McDevitt, we've been up against powerhouses before, and our motto is just try to stay in it as long as you can. Play, if you're losing by 50 at halftime, go out the second half and establish a drive. Get a first down. Just try to come up with something positive to catapult you into the next week. So I don't think it's a must win for Mifflin. I think they can learn a lot more from it than not playing them. So, like I said, take care of the ones you should, and the McDevitts, learn all you can learn.
But I actually do agree with you, though. I think even Cedar Cliff, too. I think aside from McDevitt, they have a chance to win the rest of their games.
Yeah, Cedar Cliff could be interesting. They're usually a pretty good program, and they're pulling, that's just south of Harrisburg there. They're pulling from a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Too. And I know their basketball program has been pretty good, in years past. But, you take it a week at a time, you get some momentum. Like I said, I like the quarterback. If they can keep the matchups, and try to exploit some of the downfield stuff, Mifflin County could very easily come away with a nice win there and really catapult the rest of the season to McDevitt.
Right. And the thing is, I think, like we were talking about here on the schedule, I'm looking at the schedule. Cedar Cliff has that tradition. That'll be tough. And McDevitt. And I'm talking what I think will be tough games. Actually, this year, Hershey beat Cedar Cliff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 21-20.
Well, I didn't know that.
So they must be better than we think.
Yeah, I mean, in years past, Hershey's been downright terrible. I'm surprised by that.
But, McDevitt has I think somebody told me, I can't remember who it was, they have like 8 or 9 Division I recruits. And they went down to Philly and beat LaSalle 42-14. So they're just, it helps when you can recruit, but they're just loaded.
Well, yeah, that's a whole lot.
And there's nothing you can do about it. It's like, my sports, wrestling, Bethlehem Catholic. What can you do? Every year they're one of the top 1 or 2 teams in the state.
Yeah.
Because they're getting kids not only from PA, but New York, New Jersey.
Right. I mean, look at Paramus Catholic. Look at Pittsburgh Central Catholic.
Yeah.
These are college-level programs being run in high schools. And, if you take McDevitt, and I'm not being smart, but if you can recruit from the city of Harrisburg, Hershey, York, how it go, it's tough. It's tough. And I think at some point, like I said, I don't want to derail your thing, but PIAA has to take a look at competitiveness there. And again, because what is McDevitt? Quad A?
Yes.
And
I believe so. Yeah, 5A. Yep.
Here we are, 6A, and
or they might be 4. I'll have to check. They're 4 or 5.
I think they're Quad A, if I'm not mistaken, because it's not a. I mean, Mifflin County is much bigger.
Yes.
But you're talking about apples to oranges there. But that's something. Look at Pittsburgh Central Catholic. I mean, they're just a powerhouse every year.
Yeah, every year.
And they're pulling from that whole metropolitan of Pittsburgh, and it's tough to compete. I mean, look at out. They tried to compete out there.
Couldn't. And look at the other side of the state. You got St. Joseph's Prep, who's been to 6 straight PIAA finals.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some good football out there. You're talking Upper Bucks. You know, look at the teams that come out of there.
It's hard to compete, and I think you're right. It does bring up the issue, and it's happened in wrestling too, and basketball about having separate private and public school state championships.
Yeah, well, I could see it happening. It's tough, and you see it every year. Even down, look at Bishop Guilfoyle and Altoona. They're what, double A and
Bishop Guilfoyle single A.
single A. So
Yep.
they're competing against Juniata Valley, Glendale.
Yeah.
That's just
No contest.
Yeah, that's just not happening.
But okay, let's get some predictions here. We'll do for the game. Mifflin County, Palmyra, Mr. Rodgers.
Well, if I'm on the coaching staff of Mifflin County, I'm loading the box on this. And by the way, I love what they're doing defensively. I'm not sure what they're calling it. To me, it looks like a 3-3 stack. They're probably calling it a 3-5. I'm not sure. You may know better than me. But I like what they're doing. They're firing linebackers, and they're bringing them in from different positions and places on the field and doing some more man-up stuff on the sides. If I'm them, I load up the box and I just try to make this kid, if they're gonna beat us, this kid has to beat us, but he's got to beat 11 of us. So I pile the box, and I think scoring will be at a premium for Palmyra. I think we'll be able to get some big hits downfield. So I could see this in a 38-10 type of ball game, something along those lines.
Yeah, because they really cannot pass the ball. It's been all run in their games. I'd be remiss if I didn't, since you said the defense. Reagan Ettinger, the senior, has 42 tackles and 4 sacks.
Wow.
In 4 games, not bad from his linebacker spot.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be something like really bad too. I think I'm predicting like 42-13. Kenny, your prediction?
Yes, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game myself. I think it's going to be 34-7. You got the Huskies at home, it'll probably be a packed house, I'm sure, like it was the first home game. So all the momentum goes to the Huskies, definitely.
Yeah, and I forgot, if anybody from Mifflin County is listening, and I'm sure they are, to see Brian in that. The Huskies, it is a whiteout game, so they want you to wear white. So I assume then that Mifflin County is going to wear those all-white uniforms they bring out once in a while. All right, so we all say Mifflin County. If you could stay around a little bit, since you've already seen Penns Valley, we'll get your analysis on them, Brian.
Okay, sure.
All right, that's our next game, and they got a toughie. Penns Valley, though, good record, 3-1, but they take on the Clearfield Bison, Tim Janoko, who's going to coach forever, I think. Really one of the legends in Central PA football. They're 3-1. They're tied with Tyrone for first in the Mountain League, and they are taking on the Penns Valley Rams. And what is your thoughts on Penns Valley, Mr. Rodgers?
Well, I try to jump around. I love Friday night football, and I try to jump around, and I have actually seen Penns Valley play. I've watched a couple games already, but Penns Valley is very small. Not a lot of numbers. They have a kid, number 28, I believe, who's got real-time speed. This is one of the fastest kids I've seen on the field this year. He is a burner. And they do some things with him, swing the ball out. They got a decent quarterback. I think they can score points, but they're really light up front. They're quick, but they're really light. And I think Clearfield will way outmatch them. Clearfield is, really strong. I could see that going. I think Clearfield will actually really score. I could see that 42-24. I think Penns Valley will put up points, but they'll never run with Clearfield.
Right. The Bison are honorable mention in 3A in the Pennsylvania Football News rankings this week. And Kenny, you've covered Penns Valley. What are your thoughts on this game?
I think it's two teams going in different directions. That Bald Eagle loss last week was really a heartbreaker because they were in it until like the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then everything just went wrong for them. And I think if they could get their running back Ty Watson going and kind of get the air game with Jackson Romig, the quarterback, they could be in it, but I'd say it's going to be like 28-14.
Yeah, Romig, seen here, he's thrown for 693 yards and 7 touchdowns. Watson has 3. He seems to be their offensive guy. Am I right, Kenny?
Yeah.
He has 372 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground, and he's caught 11 passes for 122 and a touchdown.
Yeah, him and Jackson Romig are pretty much their offense. They have a couple other running backs, but those two are the ones that really stick out.
And you know me, I have to bring it up. Ty Watson was 6th in the state last year in wrestling as a sophomore. Wrestlers can do anything. Also, Clearfield, the Bison 3-1. Got to bring this up. Their top offensive guy is Brady Collins, sophomore, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is a PIAA qualifier as a freshman. His dad, Scott, was a state champ for Clearfield and a national champion for West Virginia in wrestling. I had to get my wrestling stuff in. Sorry, Brian.
No, right.
I love football and wrestling equally. They're the same. But I agree with you guys. I haven't seen either team, but I know what Clearfield does. We know what Juniata does. Mm-hmm. All these years, but I agree. I think it's probably going to be something, I'll say like 34-17 Bison in that one. Well, Brian, before we let you go, I want to ask you about the Tomahawks. When do you guys do your preseason stuff?
Well, we actually had a scrimmage the other day. We played a team from another league, and we actually looked pretty good. We got a bunch of new players and had some ex-players return and whatnot. We sort of have had a pretty good momentum here. We have another one lined up in November. I want to say the 17th or something like that. So we really haven't had much of an off season. We're not working out every weekend or anything, but we're staying together and lifting and we did a couple flag tournaments just to keep the quarterbacks with our receivers in touch, and so we're kind of still hanging in there.
Nice. And your season starts in March, right?
Correct.
The Great Eastern Football Association, semi-pro Tomahawks. I had some health issues this year and couldn't get to anything. I apologize for that, Brian. But tell me it wasn't. I know they're not called Mount Joy anymore, but it wasn't them, was it?
No. Things shook up this year.
Oh.
And, we made the playoffs and we got beat by the Hitmen in Cumberland Valley in the first round, and then they got knocked off. They had some guys suspended and whatnot, and they got knocked off by the Vikings of Phillipsburg there. And
okay.
So yeah, it was a crazy. And then Mount Joy lost to the Comanche, down in Harrisburg there. So all kinds of things happened this year. It was a wild postseason.
That's shocking. Yeah, who won it?
The Vikings.
Oh, did they
beat the Comanche in the finals?
Nice, somebody different.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's going to be us soon.
Well,
how are you looking? You had a scrimmage in that, but how do you think your guys are looking so far?
Good. Without revealing too much, I'll say we probably have the best team we've had in about 6 years. we
Since you went to the championship.
yes, I think we'll make a legitimate run this year.
Is Timmy still on the team? You mentioned back.
He is still on the team. Yes, he is. He takes his licks, but he keeps on moving.
The grizzled bat.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet you he hasn't lost his speed that much though.
No, he hasn't. No, he's stayed pretty healthy, and you know, and that's what, you know. Honestly, not to change subjects, but you know, we haven't pulled a Mifflin County kid. I think Michael Tiernan was the last one that we picked up. I'm talking Huskies.
Yeah.
And that's been what, 4 years now. So, you know, I'm really excited for some of these kids. You know, as you know, their career ends in high school, and they, you know, either they don't get to play college or they're not playing college football or what have you. And, you know, this is a great outlet for them to continue to play football and do it for the love of the game and stay local. And I'm excited. I mean, you know, this is why I watch some of this stuff. You know, I'm hoping some of these kids, you know, maybe find their way to us and, you know, be able to have fun and continue their football career.
How about it? Yeah, definitely. So it starts in March, the Great Eastern Football Association. We'll have to talk about it. Kenny and I, in the winter, we're going to start a trial with wrestling, but we're going to start streaming live events, and maybe we could do some tomahawks.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
If you're willing.
Oh, we're willing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And Brian, thank you for taking the time to come on. I know you're a busy guy with your businesses and stuff, and we appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks a lot.
All right, that's Brian
Thanks,
Rodgers of the Mifflin County Tomahawks in here to talk football with us, and we really appreciate it. And now, Mr. Varner, coming soon, the Press Box website. Live streams, columns, feature stories, the best coverage of youth, high school, and college sports in PA. See, I'm bragging already, Kenny. And we don't even have the site up yet.
Oh,
it will be the pressboxpa.com.
Can't wait.
Pretty cool, honey. I'm excited, Kenny. How about you?
Me too. It's like waiting for Christmas to come. You know, when you were 10 years old and Christmas was like a week away. This is what this feels like to me. I just can't wait till we bust out and get going.
You bet. And let's move on to some more football, okay?
Alrighty.
We got the biggie. We'll save that for last. We know what the biggie is. Let's go to a game, unfortunately, two teams that are struggling this year. The Bellefonte Red Raiders, winless at 0-4, take on the 1-3 PO Mounties, and both teams, Kenny, are really struggling bad. My research, my statistics, here goes the bad news. Bellefonte has been outscored 151-27, while the Mounties have been outscored 138-59. The Red Raiders have only 4 touchdowns on the year, and they scored 20 of their 27 points against Penns Valley. They've been shut out twice. And Red Raider fans, it gets worse. You've only averaged 126 yards and 6 points a game. 29 yards rushing a game, only 1 point, and it's not a typo, 1.2 yards per carry rushing the ball. Oh my God, Kenny. That is bad. Now you've seen them. Tell me what the problem is with Bellefonte.
We'll start.
You're breaking up there, Kenny.
Oh, I'm sorry. How's this?
Now that's better. Start over. What about Bellefonte?
Okay. We'll start off with the biggest reason why Bellefonte's having such an off year. They lost a lot of their upperclassmen to graduation, and they have a very young team. I think the coach told me like he had like 12 or 13 new players in new positions. There is a ray of hope. They showed some life against Penns Valley, who basically only has one loss and is right there in the mix with the Mountain League. They scored 20 points. They had one great half where they didn't commit turnovers and stupid penalties. And that's one of the things that hinder the Red Raiders this year. Every time they get a good play, there will be some kind of a holding penalty or an unnecessary roughness penalty or some kind of penalty that just kills the drive, or even an offsides. So they got to clean that up. And they also have to clean up the turnovers. Turnovers kill them. Whenever they play Bellefonte, they had a real bad game. I mean, they had, I believe it was 5 fumbles lost out of 6 and 2 interceptions, and one was for a touchdown. So you got to clean up.
Against Bald Eagle, you said?
Yeah, against Bald Eagle. So in the Bald Eagle game, their offense could not get started. Like I said, they would get something positive and it'd be a flag. And then it would be a turnover. They just couldn't get their footing and couldn't get a start, But I actually believe that Bellefonte is actually going to win this game against Phillipsburg. Phillipsburg, their only win was to West Branch, and the rest were to Huntington, Tyrone, and Clearfield. And
tough teams.
Yeah, Clearfield beat them 55-0. So Phillipsburg's coming off that, and Bellefonte lost to Tyrone 32-7. So I got a feeling Bellefonte can get rolling, and if they do, I'm looking at them like 21-14.
This is I'll ask you about that. It's a weird thing looking at the stats. Bellefonte passes. Trevor Johnson, their junior quarterback, 21-57, 390 yards, a touchdown. But like you said, the turnovers, 5 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And that always happens. We've seen it time and time again. You said Bellefonte's so young. That
Right.
happens a lot when young teams, turnovers, mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just kill you.
Yeah.
And but Phillipsburg, they want to run. It's they got a 3-headed running back committee of Sam McDonald, Dayton Barger, and Ben Gutsky. They've combined for 360 yards and 6 touchdowns. The Mounties only average 42 yards a game through the air. So it's going to be Bellefonte's passing against PO's running, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing about the Bellefonte defense. They are really tough against the run. It's just the passing game that's really tore them apart.
Okay, I see. So they are good against the pass. I mean, the run, huh?
Yes, they seem to be, at least the 2 games that I've seen them. Bald Eagle, I believe, had 3 or 4 touchdown passes, and so there wasn't a lot on the ground compared to through the air.
But the Mounties, though, from what you're telling me, for them, geez, that's a tough schedule. Tyrone, Huntington, Clearfield.
Right. Yeah.
That's like your 3 best teams in the Mountain League.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll take your word on it. I'll pick Bellefonte if they are a good deep rushing defense and they make Phillipsburg have to pass. That's trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go. I'll think it'll be close though. I'll go 21-14 Bellefonte.
Okay.
We'll take the Red Raiders. Now we come up to my alma mater, the Bald Eagle area Eagles, as they say in PA. The Eagles, 2-2 on the year, take on Montoursville, 3-1 out of the Heartland Conference. Bald Eagle, I was doing this, how good they've gotten over with Jesse Noggle as the coach.
Mm-hmm.
He took over in 2016 after a 1-9 season, and like any new coach trying to rebuild, he struggled. They were 7-14 in his first 2 years. They've been 34-18 ever since, and they've won 2 District 6 titles, and made it to the far end of the PIAAs. I think it was the semis, wasn't it, in 2019?
Yes. Well, they went pretty deep. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's 41-32. This is his 7th season. So not a bad job for him. I mean, I remember I played with the late great Gowan Stoker,
Mm-hmm.
and Bald Eagle was good then, but Noggle seems to have a good him and his staff are building a nice program there with the Eagles.
Yeah, and their sideline demeanor too is they're very personable to the players, willing to chew them out when they need to be, and also tell them when they're doing a good job too. So they've got a good communication line with the players, which is very important at this time. With the high schools, being high school kids and everything. If you can have that connect, that's half the battle right there.
Right, and I saw they like to pass.
Yeah, they do a good.
Carson Nagel, the quarterback. I was looking at him, and I think that's probably the coach's son. Am I right?
Yes. Yep.
And he's just a sophomore.
Right.
Talk about him a little bit.
Well, Carson actually started last year. Did a really.
Oh,
good
as a freshman.
Yes. Yep. He came on.
Wow.
Kind of lit it up. They have a nice little passing game and run game. They'll pass it 2 or 3 times and then run a misdirection or a quarterback keep. They like to do that quite a bit. That's been pretty good. They have a nice.
Well, I see that what you were saying there is that they're pretty well balanced.
Right.
That they're between rushing and passing.
Mm-hmm.
They are averaging, I got this right here, 215 yards a game passing and 151 a game rushing. And that's pretty damn good. That's nice balance.
Yeah, they have a nice 1-2 punch with Nagel and running back Trey Green. He can really, once he gets through the line of scrimmage, man, you better look out. He ran 2 plays against Penns Valley last week. And just 2 plays, he got an 85-yard touchdown run, and the other one was like 59-yard touchdown run. In like 2 plays, it was just that just broke the back of Penns Valley last week. So he's got blazing speed once he gets out into that secondary.
Yeah, he's got I got here 334 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Nagel, not bad. He's 74 of 117. For 865 yards already and 8 touchdowns. Yeah, that's pretty good. He's complete. That's 63% of his passes. He's completing.
And he's not.
That's pretty good for high school football.
Oh, it is. It is. And he's not afraid to go right up the middle either. He'll go around the end, but I think he likes to get hit because he likes to call a lot of them where he'll step back and then just run up the middle. No fear in the kid, and that's pretty good too. As you can see,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. You can see that with his passing too. His line does a good job getting protecting him. I don't think he's been sacked that much this year, at least in the games that I've seen.
And he's got looks like 3 good receivers stat wise. Elliott Splain, a senior, Cahill Burns, a junior, and Cameron Watkins, a junior. Yeah, Burns is the leader, 26 catches, 354 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So do they run a lot of 3 receiver sets?
Yes. Yeah, they do. They like to run. They're not afraid to throw in the middle either.
So is it like a pro style offense?
Right. Yes. Yeah, you have your trip a lot of times. It's a pretty high functioning offense. Very quick to the line too. Sometimes they do a no huddle in the middle of the quarter. They get to the line of scrimmage quick. A lot of times they can get their defenders off guard and get a lot of positive plays out of that too as well.
Nice. And Montoursville absolutely I haven't seen them, so I don't. I'm sure you probably haven't either with the area that you cover. But they're 2-0 in the Heartland 2 conference. Their quarterback Bryce Eberhardt is a junior. 29 of 61, 475 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks. Matt Conklin, a senior running back, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns. They're a senior dominated team, at least at the skill positions. Marco Paluzzi, wide receiver, a senior, 18 catches, 391 yards, 5 touchdowns. But they have playing, they really have not played, compared to what a tough schedule. They've beaten Wellsboro, Lewisburg, and Central Columbia, and they lost to Troy 28-7. Defensively, Bald Eagle area, Trey Green, who you mentioned, has 40 tackles, leading the team, and Cameron Watkins and Alex Lefevre have 3.5 sacks. So I'm going to go with Bald Eagle in this because I think Montoursville, nothing against the Heartland. There's certain Heartland conferences that are good, like Southern Columbia's in the Heartland. But Montoursville, even though they're 3-1, I just don't think they played the teams that Bald Eagles played. So I'm going to go with the Eagles in this, and I'm going to make it 31-24.
Okay.
What is your
thought,
Kenny?
I'm actually going to go with Bald Eagle as well because they could be easily 3-1, but they lost a heartbreaker to Clearfield. Again, I think some of the season they lost 7-3. They had a 3-point lead throughout the game, and I guess Clearfield came on late and scored a touchdown and was a heartbreaker. So we're basically looking at 2 3-1 teams. And I saw Bald Eagle the last 2 games, and they're really gelling right now. Their momentum is going forward, and I think they have what it takes to go on. With Nagel at the helm, I look for it to be a 34-7 ball game.
Okay, now we go to the biggie. The best team in the area. The State College Little Lions, ranked 4th in the state in 6A. They are 4-0. 1-0 in the Mid-Penn Commonwealth. They are taking on the Central Dauphin Rams, 1-3 overall, 1-0 in the conference, and that's not a misprint. Central Dauphin, usually a power, is 1-3, but wait till I tell you, their 3 losses. Their first 4 games of the year are absolutely brutal. Maybe one of the toughest schedules, not maybe, it is one of the toughest schedules to open a season in Pennsylvania. They have lost to Central York, who's an honorable mention in the rankings, was a state finalist a year ago in 6A. They lost to Wilson Westlawn, a traditional powerhouse. Penn State fans will remember Kerry Collins. Went to Wilson Westlawn. And then they lost to Coatesville, ranked 3rd in the state in 6A. And now they get State College 4th in the state in 6A. How's that for a schedule, Kenny?
Oh, man, that's brutal. Brutal.
You better believe it. Let's go to them first. They are led by their running game. Devin Shepard, 362 yards, 4 touchdowns. David Chase, 275 yards, 4 touchdowns. He also has 8 receptions for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their best player is actually their junior, Jet France, being recruited heavily in college for colleges. 6'3", 221 defensive end, 32 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and already has 6.5 sacks.
Jeez.
Pretty impressive on his end.
It is.
For the Rams. But usually powerhouse, but, they're a little down, and then they're playing a schedule like this. No wonder they're 1-3.
And some of those games are pretty close.
Oh, yeah. Wilson Westlawn was close. So was Central York. Coatesville wasn't. Coatesville's really good, as you know.
Definitely.
Uh, let's move to State College. And before I get their players, I did some research on Matt Lintoll and what he's done at State College. And it's pretty impressive. He replaced Al Wolski. It was in 2014. Since then, he's in his ninth season. He is 74-29. That's a 72% winning percentage. He's won 7 District 6 titles in 8 years. Now, granted, it's not that impressive because only State, Mifflin County, and Altoona are in it. But the only time he didn't win it was the COVID year when we didn't have it.
Mm.
And he's a 2-time PIAA semifinalist. He's taken the Little Lions. That is very impressive. I know you haven't covered him this year, but you have covered him in the past for your hometown sports scene, Center County. Yeah. Talk a little bit about your impressions through the years of the Little Lions team with Matt Lintoll.
Oh my gosh, they are a very defensive laden team. They they have a very tough secondary. They always have very tough players.
Keith Nellis is like probably the best defensive back at Penn State. Mm-hmm. And he was a safety, corner, wide receiver for State College. And I know Mifflin County people remember him in the one. I can't remember the year, but it was a driving rain in the championship game, and he had a block punt for a touchdown. I think a reception for a touchdown. No wonder he was recruited by Penn State. So, yeah, besides the great defensive secondary, what else impresses you about the Little Lions?
Well, what I like about Coach Lintoll is he likes to work his program around when he has a lot of good coaches, do that. And a lot of times they've had great running games, but they're not afraid to air it out if they have good receivers. And this year, in Deontay Chevy,
we're going to bring him up. Deontay Chevy, a freshman running back, 536 yards, 7 touchdowns. He is averaging, this is crazy, Kenny. He is averaging 10 yards a carry.
Wow.
Think about that. I have seen film of him, so I know how impressive he is. Hits the hole quick. He's got size for a freshman, too. He's 5'11", 180, and he'll keep growing. He's got a frame that can grow. This kid's already impressive right now, but my God, when he's a senior, what is he going to do?
Yeah, he has almost over 400 yards rushing already, and he had a 207-yard effort against Hollidaysburg. So, yeah, he's one to definitely keep an eye on. And I think in the game against Altoona, he went wild as well. Another over 100-yard rushing game for him.
Yeah, the kid is really impressive. And, that's, I think, is one of the secrets to Lintoll and his coaching staff. They have really built a good feeder program. Mm-hmm. The junior high and even down into the youth, they've really built a solid. So they're getting kids like Chevy coming up every year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now they use, it seems to me, at least looking at the stats, they use a 2-headed quarterback system. Senior Finn Fermanic has thrown for 360 yards and 4 touchdowns, and Owen Yurka, a junior, has thrown for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know about the 2-headed quarterback system at all?
I'm not too familiar with it. Is it kind of like how the NFL had it a couple years ago where they had 2 quarterbacks lined up and they didn't know who was going to get the center? Forget Wildcat. Sorry, the Wildcat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're passing with 2 quarterbacks, and when they pass, they're going for Dante Nastasi, a senior, 18 catches, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, and people that are older, like me and Kenny, Joe Nastasi, who was a good, pretty decent wide receiver for Bedford, I believe, and then went and played at Penn State. This is his son, Deontay, and he's been good for a long time, and he's a senior now. And Kenny, you have a story about him in elementary when you covered him.
Yeah, he was one of the State College Little Lions that used to play in the Juniata Valley Football League, and I know for many years he gave a lot of times it happened to be Kish that they'd go up against, and he would give them fits. He was a running back then, and very quick, very talented, and it's hard to believe that he's a senior now. I feel super old.
Yeah, but State College, I mean, Central Dauphin has played a tough schedule, and it's not any easier. What are your thoughts? What do you think the score is going to be in this game? Your prediction?
Oh, this one's probably the hardest one because you can't see CD going 1-4, but you also can't see State College looking over Central Dauphin and getting a swelled head because they have a 4-0 record. So this one's a flip of the coin, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be probably a 27-26 in favor of State College.
Kenny, I'm going to shock you. I think.
Okay.
I'm going to go way different. I haven't been personally, but I've seen film on State College. This might be the best team, top to bottom, that Lintall's ever had. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to crush Central Dauphin. I'm predicting 48-14.
Wow.
Yes, yeah, I know. Central Dauphin just, they always had those stud athletes, and they've got decent ones, but nothing at that level like Chevy is for State College. Mm-hmm. And I think the State College is going to roll.
Well, if they play anything like they did against Altoona last week, they'll definitely.
Yeah, they're the classes of Central PA. I mean, they get a chance to. The Commonwealth is always tough. You got Harrisburg, Cumberland Valley. I think State College is going to win the Commonwealth.
Oh, I can believe that. They keep that momentum going. Yeah,
you better believe it. Just a reminder, put that up. Coming soon, the Press Box website featuring live streams, columns, feature stories, the best coverage. Yes, we're being arrogant. The best coverage of youth, high school, and college sports in PA. It'll the URL when we get it up is www.thepressboxpa.com, and we will start live streaming soon. We plan to actually go and do some live events. We're going to do that probably in the winter, right, Kenny?
Right. Yeah. Give us a little time to do our little baby steps, getting used to everything, and by the time winter season comes along, we'll be good to go.
And eventually, want to do video streaming, but it'll be audio at first. Mm-hmm. Video streaming's kind of expensive, so we'll be doing audio streaming like internet radio, and we're going to start out with wrestling, and eventually do all kinds of sports, high school or college. I don't think we'd be allowed, because of the networks, but high school, and then like stuff like we talked to Brian Rodgers tonight, the semi-pro football, maybe even some youth stuff we'll do. And so it's going to be open to everybody. We might be able to do some small colleges. We could ask them that. I don't think we'd be able to do any Division I because of network TV.
Right.
But we do plan to do wrestling. I don't know about basketball. That'll come on Kenny's end if he wants to do some of that. I'm going to do wrestling, and Kenny might do it with me, right, buddy?
Oh, definitely. I'm anxious to be on the wrestling scene with you.
And we're going to do this every week. We're going to have our regular show now, like it always is, Wednesday evenings from 7:30 to 8:30. And then we'll have the high school football show during the season every Thursday afternoon here from 5 to 6 o'clock. Anything you want to add, Mr. Varner?
No, just as always, thanks for tuning in and listening. And I promise I'll get better with this as we go.
Oh, that's okay.
Still learning
It's
the
a,
ropes,
it's a learning experience, buddy.
but
But
it's been
hey, listen, if you didn't, and a lot of people don't, if you didn't want to stay live or something came up and you couldn't watch it live, the recordings will be on the Central PA Sports Facebook page and our YouTube page, the Press Box. Just put the Press Box live stream and it should be in there. And go to our YouTube or Facebook page, and eventually we'll also be streaming live on the pressboxpa.com, our website, when it gets up and running. So we'll be streaming live on all three sites and then have the recording up on all three sites. All right, Mr. Varner, you said you're taking Friday off, aren't you?
Well, I'm going to take Friday off. I'm going to actually try to live stream the Husky game while I'm down in Harrisburg. I volunteered to help my wife this weekend. She's starting her own venture, and we're going to a show this weekend down in Harrisburg. And but I'll be watching the Huskies live stream. I'm anxious to see it. Wish I could be there.
I'm going to be covering the Huskies against Palmyra for the Lewistown Sentinel.
Nice.
And I think it's going to be a big win for Mifflin County, like we talked about.
Oh yeah,
and it'll get the what I love the most. I'm sorry to interrupt you. What I love the most, and I forgot to mention that to Brian, was the crowds.
Mm-hmm.
Was the crowd last home game? Packed. You haven't seen that in a long time. It was great to see all those fans out there in the stands.
And I think you'll see even more with homecoming and with the success of these kids. It's awesome.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about homecoming. Yeah. But it's like they're going to 4-1 if they win for the first time since 13.
Mm.
Not bad at all for the Huskies.
Not at all.
All right. That's going to about wrap it up for Kenny Varner. I am Brian Carson. We really appreciate you stopping listening. And like I said, check the recording out if you couldn't make it through the whole thing or you couldn't make it at all with work or whatever. It'll be on our Facebook page, Central PA Sports. And it'll be also on the YouTube website, the Press Box. And you can search Press Box live stream and it will be there. And get ready for our soon-to-be website, thepressboxpa.com, and for the live streaming of events that we're going to start doing in the winter. All right, that's it. Thank you for hanging in there with us. We truly, really appreciate it. We thank you for listening, and have a good rest of your week and an even better weekend. And if you want to watch the Browns-Steelers game, it's on tonight at 8:15 or 8:20. It's gonna be probably as exciting as watching paint dry. You have two teams that can't. You have two teams that have terrible offenses.
Yeah.
And the thing that stinks.
They're already calling.
Go ahead.
Oh, they're calling for Kenny Pickett to come in already. They're not.
Oh, I know. Did you see the total?
No.
Did you see the total on the spread? The total's only 38.5 points.
Wow.
That's combined. I mean, that's the total.
Jeez.
Both offenses are really struggling right now. And the fans are calling for Kenny Pickett. You knew that was going to happen. You draft a guy number one, you want to see him in there, not Mitch Trubisky. No offense to Mitch, but that's the fans.
No. And he's not helping himself at a press conference saying he wants to throw the ball. He needs to learn to throw the ball short. He's not coached already. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's going to be – the thing I don't like about it is, they spent the money. Jeff Bezos is rich. Amazon has Thursday Night Football now, and you can't see it unless you have Amazon Prime. I do not have Amazon Prime.
I either.
And I'm not going to get it now just to see the Steelers and the Browns.
No.
Who do you like in the game?
I got to go with my Steelers. Got to go with a Mitch Trubisky blowout tonight. I'm looking at a 38-10 game.
Sorry to piss you off, but and all Steeler fans, I'm going to take the Browns. I think Nick Chubb is going to run all over Pittsburgh without T.J. Watt in there. We know Jacoby Brissett can't pass, but they have Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and I think Pittsburgh's going to have really trouble because Pickett, no matter what, is still a rookie. Mitch Trubisky is just, I think, awful, and Najee Harris is playing hurt.
Yeah.
So I like the Browns 21-17.
I can see.
Sorry, Kenny.
Yeah, it's okay. My daughter is a Cleveland Browns fan, and if the Browns win, I'm not going to hear the end of it until they play again.
You will not hear the end of
No.
it. But it's the only thing great about this game is the rivalry, how bad each team can't stand each other.
Right.
So there we go. We even got into pro football. Who's Penn State play this week?
Oh.
I am not a Penn State fan, so I don't follow them.
Oh boy, I don't know. It's terrible.
They beat a bad Auburn team, and everybody thinks Penn State should be top 10 now. Their fans, they think they should. I don't want to get everybody mad at me, but I am not a Penn State fan. Not at all. I think they're like, well, no, I better not say that, huh? We'll have nobody listen to us, Kenny, right?
Well, I'm a Penn State fan, so I'll hold the torch.
Oh, they are playing the mighty Central Michigan.
Oh, yeah. And that's
at 12 o'clock.
For all you fans out there.
That's a 12 o'clock start. They play the mighty, I think that's the Chippewas of Central Michigan from the Mid-American. They lost to South Alabama, Central Michigan. And then they got crushed. You knew they were going to lose to Oklahoma State. So they're 1-2.
Oh, yeah.
They beat Bucknell. 1-2. It's what I said every year. Penn State fans get arrogant, and they're like Notre Dame. They play frickin' nobody, and then when they actually get somebody like Ohio State or Michigan, lights out.
Yeah, learn to turn on.
I'll end it at that, Kenny, before if there's Penn State fans listening, before they want to kill me. But please, it's just my opinion, okay? Because my team stinks too, UCLA. UCLA has played South Alabama, Alabama State, and Bowling Green, which is so cupcake, it's unreal. All right,
things will starting to tighten.
What's that?
I was going to say things will starting to tighten up here with the competition whenever USC and UCLA come in the Big Ten.
UCLA is going to get destroyed in the Big Ten. They are going to get absolutely frickin' destroyed. We have trouble in the Pac-12. How are we going to compete in the Big Ten? That was a disaster. They did it for money, but it's a terrible move. It might help a little in recruiting, but UCLA isn't ready to compete with these upper echelon Big Ten schools. Not at all. All right, that's going to wrap it up. We had a couple people must have been mad because they left the stream on my Penn State thing, but you got to say what you feel.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I even thought that in Paterno's years. They played an even easier schedule when Joe Paul was there. All right. That's going to do it, like I said, before everybody gets pissed. Sorry about that. We were supposed to stick to high school. But we thank you for listening. We really do. And we'll see you here again next week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.